They're just like you and me, an ordinary day. Make coffee, grab the baby, then it's time to play. Their bond extends beyond. Roll the dice, come on. These part-time heroes here, they're gonna save the day. Inside the eye of the beholder lies your fate. They're the part-time heroes.
Hello, randos, and welcome to another episode of Random Tables. My name is Michael. I am your solo player and host, and today I am joined by Nick from Scry Society. This way. uh, how's it going, man? Are you muted?
Yeah, I just thought I'd start off the stream strong by muting myself, even
That's
though you and
okay.
I have been talking for literally an hour.
That's all right. Hey, Nick, why don't you give everybody your spiel about who you are, where they can find you, and all that jazz?
Yeah, my name is Nick. You can find me at 178 South 4th Street. And no, just new bit I'm trying out. My name is Nick, and you can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Scry Society, where I am either pontificating about TTRPGs or running monthly, semi-monthly charity streams. I started doing this last April, and we've raised over $5,000 for a dozen different charities. Kind of doing streams a little bit like this, where we don't really know what's going to happen, and I'm really excited to play tonight.
Well, I'm excited to have you. And I'm going to be honest, the first time I ever saw you on online, I thought it was Scary Society. And I was like, ooh, we can add a little spookiness to the show.
To be fair, right now it is Scary Society on Twitter because of October. I have it as like SC little a
Nice.
RY. So it is scary now. But
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are just joining us, welcome. I am going to be playing Durian Greyhawk, the Battle Bard. And he has been on quite the adventure. He entered into this place called the Infinite City, which is this realm that exists in all of the realms. The Shattered Realms, which is this world of floating islands. They all have various biomes and cultures and this, that, and the other. But I've entered into the Infinite City and then was immediately sent on a quest to go get the heart of a dying world. Well, little did Durian know that this was all a scam in order to bring back the master of my friend Rascally Rick, the Shadow King. And so I have returned to the Infinite City, and I am searching for clues in order to find my friend Mac and potentially figure out how to utilize the box once again, because right now I can't do that. And so, yeah, without further ado, I think I'm just going to throw Nick into the deep end. I have just entered into this street that is like this like outdoor casino, but it's like secret and hidden from the rest of the city. And someone has offered for me to join some sort of like fighting ring. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Take it away, good sir.
Yeah. So when you arrived at this fighting pit, it wasn't the most impressive fighting pit you've ever seen. There's a little dirt pit, a couple of bleachers around, and there's some unsavory characters just kind of beating on each other. And the proprietor of said fighting pits had made a deal with you, offering you help him out by participating in the fighting pit, and he'll return a little bit of information your way. And he says, well, look, hey, be totally honest with you, this whole thing up here, this is just a front. This ain't the fighting pit. You're going to want to come with me. And he walks over to one of the nearby, it looks like an outhouse, and opens up the door and says, after you.
You just want me to... Well, all right. And I'm going to like pull my shirt up and like cover my nose as I walk into this outhouse.
Yeah, and this gentleman who I don't think had a name last I recall.
I've lost your audio.
Oh,
Oh, there you are.
okay.
That was weird. Sorry.
It was weird. I don't recall if he had a name, this gentleman. All right. Well, by the way, I should probably introduce myself before we share my secret outhouse elevator. My name's Lucius Graves.
Lucius, it's very nice to meet you. I am Durian Greyhawk, the battle bard. And I give him a tiny little bow in this small outhouse.
Yeah, he's at this point, and he's a little bit of a rough and tumble guy. Looks like maybe back in the day, he like in his prime, he was probably like a one of the contestants in the fighting pit himself. Now he's maybe let himself go a little bit, but he looks like he can still hold his own. He goes and he actually presses into the outhouse with you. The two of you are large guys, so you're kind of like chest to chest. You go, wait, which one is it? Is it he's like pulling on different things. Oh yeah. And he reaches down and pulls on the toilet paper dispenser. Toilet paper exists in this world.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, the entire outhouse starts rumbling and lowering into the ground.
Fascinating.
Yeah. It's I hired this contractor. He really outdid himself. This also is a fully functioning outhouse if you ever need to use it.
Well, I won't take you up on that offer just yet.
And so you guys have an uncomfortably long silence down. It's only like about 15 seconds, but long enough that Battle Bard, huh?
Yes, that is the title. I come from the Order of the Bards, and I'm quite skilled at fighting, so they've dubbed me the Battle Bard.
Hey, well, I guess we'll put that name to the test tonight, huh?
Yes. How long have you been running this illegal operation?
Oh, just I killed the old guy that used to run it. What was it, about 5 years past? He was skimming too much off the top, and me and the boys couldn't tolerate that. So,
understandable.
It's just business.
Yes.
Hey, and then you hear like a very pleasant ding, and the outhouse door opens up. And you are introduced to a very different sight than up above. Whereas up above, it was this sort of falling apart, kind of ratty looking outfit. You are walking into the medieval equivalent of like a minor league baseball stadium. We're not talking major or anything. I mean, but it is like there is this huge like gladiatorial arena that you can see up ahead of you, and just hundreds and hundreds of people in all of these bleachers lining it. And there looks to be this battle going on the inside of this huge troll of this large green-skinned figure, as like 4 or 5 men in like tattered armor are running around trying to fight the creature.
Well, it seems you weren't completely forthcoming with me about this fighting arena. I thought it was just fisticuffs, me and another man, mano y mano.
That's just what I gotta say up there. But don't worry, you're a battle bard. I'm sure you're gonna just knock this thing right out. It'll be great. And as he says it, you hear this like sound of crunch as like one of the troll's clubs comes down and completely just eviscerates one of the humans down there fighting him.
Oh shit, dude. Yes, we will indeed see.
Hey, don't worry about it. Don't get stressed. He sees you like as like the guy like picks someone up and like pulls him apart and tosses him aside. Oh, don't worry about those guys. This is just our warm up. We like to get the crowd, give them a good show. Well, you probably won't go up against a troll. Don't worry.
Well, all right.
And he's like putting his arm on. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's I'm definitely, as a bard, as the battle bard, I've kind of talked myself up now. Definitely trying to keep my composure in front of this man, but on the inside, Durian was not entirely prepared for this. I fought monsters before. I can do it again, but I was just like, a couple of punches, some dude falls down. This is not what I expected.
Yeah. Yeah, he can sense it. He puts his arm around, hey, don't worry, you're going to be fine. He's like very much trying to turn you away as the troll picks up one of the guys and just like absolutely launches him at one of the other ones. One of them has like thrown a chain around him and he's just now like throwing the guy around you. So you're like, as he's just, no, don't worry, come down here. Look, I'll explain the rules to you, okay? All right, and yeah, leaving behind. And by the way, as all this is happening, the sound of this cheering crowd, like with every hit, every crunch, there's just this rah from the crowd. Absolutely loving it. And he says, look, just come here. I got some just things. All right, so first off, and he's like taking you to like some stairs leading down away from the fighting pit, but like further down. He goes, sure. You look like maybe you've been through a scrap or two. Don't worry. We're not going to send you in there as anything other than full strength. We got a special little, call it an injection. It'll bring you back to full strength. So you'll be good to go. You're going to have a hell of a hangover tomorrow though. And this stuff ain't exactly street legal. So don't go telling anybody about it up on the surface.
Yes. You're saying some sort of illegal concoction that you're going to inject into me? Is that what?
Yeah. Well, we find that if you do it intravenously, it works way faster. We've tried potions and salves and all that. It just takes way too long. So don't worry. We're gonna just take care of that.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Sure, but
and he pulls a syringe out from his pocket and jams it into your neck as you're standing there. And you, Durian, feel it's actually not like he's like it's a very it's almost like we're talking medical grade thing. Like it's like sure. In and out, and you feel this like sharp pain. But before you can even think about the pain, like you feel this spasm as like every muscle in your body feels like it's on fire for a moment, like you're going to explode, and then it sort of settles, and then it's just this like warmth in your chest. But you feel like for a moment you could like lift up a cart and just toss it.
Incredible.
Yeah. So sorry that I technically took that as your verbal waiver, so I think we're all right. So mechanically, Michael, you are at full health.
Okay.
How many adventure points did you have?
I currently have 6.
Okay, so it'll give you an additional 3, so you'll be up to 9.
Awesome. All right.
Are
there any side of? Oh, that's what.
Yeah. Look, some people have side effects, but they usually take a few hours to manifest. So don't worry, you should be fine. Just walk it off, assuming you survive. I'm just playing.
Yes.
Yeah, you didn't tell anybody you came here, though, right? Like nobody's gonna come looking for you if you hypothetically were to not exist anymore after tonight.
No, I believe I told everyone I was headed back to the guild hall.
Oh, great. Hey, I like you. You're not going to leave any clues. All right. So you're not going to know your enemy until the fight begins. And he's just continuing to like walk you down. And as you go, by the way, you're seeing all sorts of people. This is an incredibly diverse, the Infinite City itself is a metropolis of people from all across the realm. So you're seeing, typical like fantasy realm creatures you might recognize as like elves or orcs or dwarves. You pass by what looks to be some sort of like automaton or construct with like red eyes that looks at you and like kind of scans you up and down. Another appears to be like a banshee of some sort, just sitting there like sipping a glass of wine. There are, you're pretty sure, what looks to be 3 kobolds in a trench coat, but they move on before you have a chance to verify. And he says, Look, so you're not going to know your enemy until the fight begins. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. You're allowed to bring whatever weapons you want. Any magic items. There's really no rules except that the fight is not over until only one combatant remains either conscious or alive. So that means lethal force is allowed, but the medics are usually able to heal most people.
Sure. Yes, this is all... This is a lot, okay? This is a lot. I'm just trying to get my bearings here. I thought this was literally a boxing match. I didn't realize that... Okay,
Yeah, you need to take a second? You need me to get you a drink, or...
No. I just need a moment. I just clear my head. I lost a friend today, and so I'm a little out of sorts.
Oh hell, I'm so. Oh, but I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe you can do tonight's fight in his honor.
Yes, perhaps. I yeah, you know what? I feel like what's happening is remind me again this guy's name because I forgot.
Lucius Graves.
Thank you. So Lucius Graves seems he's an overwhelming. He's like a used car salesman. He's just
Yes.
spitting out information constantly, and I can't get a word in edgewise, and I feel overwhelmed, but at the same time, this shot has invigorated this this, I feel great. I feel like I can take on the world once again. And thinking on Mac, I am sad, but I think I'm thinking more about how I'm not that sad at the moment, and I think it's because of these drugs. So this is just all that's going through his mind as he's trying to kind of like quiet him down for a moment and gain his composure.
I love it. And so he's like, you're just passing by all these people. You're now at this point, you're in like what appears to be like sort of a locker room area. So you pass by, you see there looks to be this like large, hulking horned figure with like red skin wrapping like almost like boxing wraps around his hand. Hey, boss. And you see pass by another little, like it looks like a small little gnome, and he's got more daggers on him than you think any you've ever seen a person. Goes, hey, fresh meat, Graves. I'd love to see it. Hey, good luck in there, big guy.
Yes, thanks. You too, gentlemen.
Hey, we got us a fancy one. All right, I can't wait to see this. And Lucia, oh look, no, hey, don't worry about those guys. They're just joshing you. Okay, so I should mention too, our pit, this fighting pit, we actually call this the Pandemonium Pit. It's filled with both magical and technological enhancements that are going to ensure every fight is unique. So sometimes things will happen and then things will get a little bit weird. If you ever see like a little magic crate, like a little glowing box, if you can get to it before the other guy gets to it, you'll find yourself a nice little treat inside that might help you out in the battle. But they're only temporary, so if you get it, don't hold on to it for too long. Go ahead and use it, okay?
Sure. Get to the crate, use it immediately. Understood.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that pretty much covers it. No rules. You can kill or be killed. That's pretty much it. Oh, you can also, you can yield. And most of the time, the other guy will let you, surrender. But it's not exactly the most heroic way to go,
The battle bard never yields.
Hey, I like to hear that. Hey, so do you have any other titles that the announcer should know before we send you up? You said Durian Greyhawk, the battle bard from, where are you from again?
Well, I come from the Isle of the Bards.
Ah, right. Isle of the Bards. Love it. Any other titles you got? Vanquisher of Evil, Defeater of the 72 Ogres.
Yes. Slayer of Shadow.
Oh, I like that.
Yes.
Hey, you see he takes out a little notepad. Okay, Slayer of Shadow. All right. Hey, I'll get this up to the...
It's new. I'm trying it out.
Hey, I like it. Maybe if things go well here, we can have you be a returning guest.
Perhaps.
By the way, before we go up there, this is kind of a lot to do for a little bit of information. So just so I got a sense of like, are you looking for like a place to get a good haircut, or like what kind of information are you looking for exactly?
Yes. I'm gonna lean in close so that none of the other competitors are listening, and I go.
He sees that you do that, and he like does like one of those with like a short, high pitched whistle, and like nods his head, and they all back away, like giving you guys space.
You see, I've found myself in quite the predicament lately. I just told you, Slayer of Shadow. I've found myself on the wrong end of a quarrel with someone known as the Shadow King. Are you familiar?
Roll me a d20.
All right.
Michael.
That was a 14.
Okay. He stops. He looks at you. You can read that he gets a sense when you say that. He goes, "Hey, between you and me, you might want to be careful going around throwing that name around willy-nilly."
And why is that?
Yeah, well, I don't want to show my hand before you've done your end of the deal, but let me just tell you that there's a lot of folks in the city who have been whispering that name on the underground. A lot of folks who frequent our casino, and all I know is anybody who gets involved with anybody in that group, it's bad news, bud.
Yes.
Had a lot of folks disappearing from the city over the last few weeks. Went looking into that.
Yeah.
But hey, look, we'll worry about that after. I'll start to see if I can dig some stuff up on you know who, and hopefully I'll see you on the other side.
Yes, indeed. A little shook because that moment did finally sink in. You said people are disappearing, and Mac was just on the tip of his tongue, but he held it because he doesn't want to give away too much information to someone he's just barely met. So,
and I want to say with the 14, at that kind of mix, you sensed he's been like a real gregarious kind of like, yeah. You got a sense of like gravitas out of him. Absolutely. When you said that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Well, I look forward to seeing you afterwards, Lucius.
That's the spirit, my guy. And he like puts his hand on your shoulders and says, all right, so you're just going to go in that room. You need some time to warm up or anything?
No, I'm quite fine. Oh, before you leave, Lucius, could you tell me, you said you're down a competitor tonight and I'm taking his place. What happened to that competitor?
Wouldn't you like to know, bud? And he slaps you on the ass and shoves you into the room that's in front of you.
Sure.
And as like kind of a surprisingly strong shove, and you turn back just in time to see him, and he slams the door shut. And you are in a circular room with the magical orbs that are sort of just providing a little like dull yellow, almost torchlight in here. And you can just hear the faint sound of cheering up above before kind of it sort of settles to just a distant hubbub.
Gotcha.
But you're in a round circular room, nothing else in there around you.
Okay. Just as this is more for Michael than it is for Durian here. These orbs, for whatever reason, they're glowing kind of a yellowish orange. It makes me like, for a moment, I see a vision of the giant glowing orb at the center of the city, atop the tower, near the Shadowwalkers Guild. Is this? Are they reminiscent of the same type of power or energy, magic or whatnot?
Yeah, I think this is like a microcosm of that. So it's a much smaller and less awe-inspiring effect. But when you get closer, you do see, as you look, this is not just like a little flame. I mean, there's like this, it's almost, as you get really close to it, an almost entrancing sort of like kind of glow and then dim and then glow. And yeah, you absolutely get a sense that there's some sort of similar kind of, whether it's magic or technology, it's difficult to really, it seems like a perfect almost blending of the two.
Yeah, and once again, kind of staring and walking towards one of these and imagining the orb atop the tower, I begin almost subconsciously saying, "It's the key. It's the key. It's the key," in this like kind of like droning state, right? Almost a fugue state for a moment.
And if anyone else were in the room with you, they would see, as you're sitting there staring at these orbs, and you say, "It's the key. It's the key." At the center of these orbs is like a little bit of blackness, and it starts to grow and grow and grow, and it's it's starting to envelop the darkness. And every time you say it's the key, it's the key, it grows and grows until all of a sudden the room that you were in goes completely black. And then you kind of shake your head, and you're in everything looks exactly the same as it was.
These drugs are pretty good. Yes. Okay. Shake it off, Durian. You've got this. Ooh, and I just kind of get loose.
Yeah. As you do, it's at that moment you hear this sound of like grinding and like some sort of mechanical sound as this whole room starts to vibrate, and you start to move upward, but only the floor. And you realize you're on some sort of like elevator grate, and up above you there is this, you've been in this kind of dim lighting, a blinding amount of light as this ceiling above you begins to separate, almost like an eye just opening.
Sure.
Up above, and you hear this roaring of the crowd, and the sound of an announcer comes over.
And introducing. Wait, what does it say here? Oh, he's a replacement for the other guy? The one that got crushed? Okay. Introducing
Crushed?
Durian Greyhawk, the Battle Bard, Slayer of Shadow.
And there's this roaring of the crowd as you say this.
I take my loot axe off of my back, and I'm just gripping the neck of the loot, and I hold it into the air as I begin to like rise up onto the battlefield. Just like straight up, very Conan the Barbarian, just holding it straight up in the air.
The camera would pan out. We would just see the first thing that people see is the axe, the loot axe, as it comes up. And actually, you didn't notice it when you were in there, but now that like the light is open, it's actually turning as you come up. So like as you're holding it, you're coming up and it's spinning. And there is this, as he says, the Slayer of Shadow. Pyrotechnics of just fire shooting up all around you as the crowd is shouting and screaming this this roar in your ear. And as you look around, now that you're inside this pit, you're in the center of this large circular fighting pit, easily 150 feet wide. And you look around, and it's this very well-made, well-crafted. The walls are like 15 feet high, maybe 20 feet high even, going all the way around where the first bleachers start. And you can see there are even a few people who are on like floating bleachers, floating up above, that must have sort of like VIP passes to see the action up close. The other thing you notice, there are 12 doors, each spaced equidistant apart around this circle. Okay. Large double iron doors, and each of the doors has a single like image or icon over it. One of them has what looks like a bear claw. Another one has what looks like almost like an angel's halo with like a beam of sunlight going through it. Another one looks like a gear. There's another that looks like fire turning into like water, turning into wind. You don't even have time to take them all in. Sure. There's like lights beaming down at you, and the announcer is just like gassing up the crowd. And at that moment, he says,
"Warrior, step forward and choose your fate and cast the die." And
as he says this, the crowd roars as he says, "Cast the die." And you're looking around. There is another much smaller version of like the elevator you're on right in front of you. And I should have mentioned, the pit itself is just covered in a layer of fine sand. Sure. And you can actually see that a very recent amount was added to it, not quite covering up the smell of freshly spilled blood.
For sure.
But just off the platform you're on, a smaller, maybe about 2 feet wide circle comes up out of the ground, and it goes all the way up to table height. And at the center of that table is like an obsidian stone, multifaceted with multiple sides etched into it. And it appears that each of the symbols from the doors are on this dice.
Okay.
This die. And so the crowd is chanting, cast the die, cast the die, cast the die, waiting for you to approach the table.
All right.
And the table itself is about 2 feet wide, and you've actually realized it, like the edges of it are like they come up to a lip.
Okay. I, kind of just taking in the crowd. My nervousness is almost overridden by this adrenaline, this rush. I live for this. You know what I mean? Like, this is a moment. I was nervous, and then hearing people like cheering for me, it's like it's getting rid of that nervousness instantly. And I walk towards the I spin my axe a couple of times and then slap it on my back, and proudly walk toward the pedestal, the table, if you will. And I'm assuming you said there's 12 doors, so I'm assuming this is some sort of D12 dodecahedron, if you will.
A dodecahedron, exactly. So I need you, if you have one at home, to do me a favor and roll as you, Durian, approach it. It's a large. It's like the size of like a lemon, or like maybe a plum. It's not little tiny, because it's had to be bigger to have these symbols carved into it, and it's got heft to it.
Okay, so I lift. I hold it and I feel the weight of it. And once again, I look up to the crowd and I hold it up into the air once again.
And they roar and cheer.
I roll it around in my hands just like I'm doing now. I blow it and I release the die onto the table. And the die, oops.
Yeah, you tell me what the number is and I'll tell you what symbol shows up.
It's a 1.
Oh, 1. Okay. So you, Michael, see a 1, but Durian, what you see are 2 crossed pitchforks. And as you look down at these crossed pitchforks, there's this like little bluish light at the center of the dice. And suddenly it shoots up right out of that, casting the symbol into the sky above you. As you see these 2 crossed tridents, and everyone in the crowd cheers, and the lights suddenly change doom, 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 to this like hellish red.
Oh God!
As the crowd starts to cheer, and the announcer says,
He rolled for the symbol of the hells.
And everyone just cheers. This like roiling mass of people. You actually see there's people that didn't notice it before, wearing different memorabilia or like merchandise for the different symbols.
Sure.
And there's a huge like hellfire section of just like people with like horns, and they've got the pitchforks, and they're all cheering, and a bunch of them are on like a big like mega screen up above, and they're like,
There's like 4 dudes in the front that are like painted red with like hell written across their chest.
Yeah, except they're drunk, so it's like HE or HLEL, and they're like, no, move around. Yeah, and it's just everyone's losing their mind. And do you have anything was Durian doing in this moment now? So it seems like the crowd is reacting. Is there anything you're doing before the next step is taken here?
Sure. If it's my assumption that I've chosen an opponent of sorts, or perhaps a landscape or something like that, I think I want to flip off my axe one more time and start playing a little ditty, which will like a slow blue glow comes from my axe and then covers my body in a sheen of like a light blue. And I'm gonna cast shield on myself because
I love that.
I feel like I need to prepare myself.
Go ahead and just give me a quick D20. I want to see how the crowd reacts to this showmanship, this magical display, and this is going to also take into like you coming up with the axe and everything.
Okay, so that is an 8.
So, you see, like, as this like covers you, there's suddenly like a picture, like a stylized picture of you up above at the top, on this big screen where you'd previously seen other people, and then similarly, you see this like demonic visage, and there looks to be like a little bar going up and down as it appears as if the crowd
Like
is like
betting.
reacting and betting.
Sure.
And you see that as you react this, and there's the announcer's like, well, folks, it looks like he's using a bit of protection magic. I hope it holds out for him. Like people, you see that the betting odds start going in favor of the demon, the demonic visage. You still got some folks in your corner. You actually recognize, was it Johnny, the old drunk guy from episode 1?
Yes. I believe
No.
so. Let's see. I have it here. I think it was Johnny.
I think it was. You see, he's actually in the front. Hey, I know that guy, and he's really drunk. And he's like, you see, he's like betting.
What is he
he's like,
doing here?
Yeah, bet for that guy. He fixed the lake. Yeah. I mean, you probably can't hear that, but that's what's happening. And with as that happens, and your shield, then you feel its protective magic sinking over you. There's the door over which you see the crossed pitchforks now. All the lights, ding, 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 this like spotlight all go there, and the rest of the place is completely dark except for one spotlight over you at the center and this door, and it just starts clink, 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 as it opens, and this like roiling smoke comes out from within, and you see these. The first thing you actually see are what look like maybe like these two thick legs, followed by this dropping clinking of a metal chain on either side. And as the door keeps rising, eventually revealing this figure with reddish skin, incredibly muscular body, with this like ridiculously long arms wrapped around which are these spiked chains. Its head is humanoid, but it's been twisted into this like horrible demonic. It's got these like big pointed ears, eyes that are like yellow and narrowed to this almost like hunter's visage that's like looking out at you. And on kind of hovering in the air around it are these two small impish creatures, much smaller, with these little like bat wings, looking out. And as the creature looks around, the announcer chimes in and says, but just wait, folks, we've got to spice things up a bit. And you hear this like sound of a bunch of like, again, mechanical gears, something going on as the crowd starts to cheer, and all around you hear this, and you see like cracks forming in the ground coming from where you are, going in every single direction, just one big one, and then splintering out, and suddenly they cracks and splits, and you see this gout of flame come up, and within moments crumbling, this land now devolving into a mass of lava around you, with just these large land masses of the sandy pit left, from which you might be able to navigate by moving around. And as that happens, you see that demon gets this like wicked smile on its face and starts spinning those chains and walking out of the door towards you.
Sure. So as the ground begins to crackle and fall away into these like lava chasms, whatnot, these lava flows, wherever I'm standing in the moment and it's safe, I feel the twinge at my side, and I look down at the glowing pommel of my sword, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant my axe down onto the ground, and I'm also going to do the same thing with the blink blade. I'm going to stick it down into the ground as it just sticks out of the sand slightly, and then
can I stop you for 1 second?
Yep, go for it.
when you grab the blink blade and you go to like stick it into the ground, before you pull your hand away, you hear a voice in your head.
Use me.
That sent a real chill down my spine. Great job. With everything that's been happening, everything that's been going on, but these drugs like rushing through my veins and just feeling this like drive. I feel as though I'm unstoppable. I can overpower this curse. And so I will, in fact, use it as I plant it into the ground, looking at it as I release my hand from it. And I plant both of my hands back into my axe and ready myself, blade behind me, as I begin to... I think I'm going to charge at this creature, hop from place to place.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead. You start charging, and I will say you are able to close the distance at least to where he's like running at you as well. So he was spinning the chains and getting like faster and faster and faster, and now he's just like running full speed. And so the two of you are coming for like, normally I'd be like, oh, you get halfway there, you have to wait, but he's not waiting for you. He's charging to meet you. So what is going to be your first action as the two of you come to close? And I will say, as he approaches, you see he like gestures with his head left and right, and the two imps go left and right and then blink out of existence.
Gotcha. So as I'm running directly towards him, they blink away, and like Thor and Hulk, I leap into the air, axe behind me as it swings around, and I'm going to try to like chop down on him as we collide.
I love that. Go ahead and give me a roll.
16.
Okay, a 16. Wait, sorry, was this a reckless or is this a regular?
Just a standard attack.
Okay. Yeah, so with a 16, you are absolutely able to connect. You see what happens. He throws up as you charge. He tries to wrap his chains like around you, and you basically skid below it, and that's when you leap up and are able to get in under. He thought that he had you because of the range, but you do like a skid on the lava, and you get on the rock right to the edge of it and leap off of it, and you're able to then is trying to pull back. And he turns, and you bury the axe right into this thing's shoulder, and you just see this like black ichor and blood pour out of it. How much damage does that attack do? Is that
just
straight?
Standard
just two.
attack.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, and you yank the axe out. And he like pulls the chains back and just does that like a roar in your face, and you see like hellfire at the back of his mouth.
For sure.
Awesome. Do you have anything else that you would like to do for the conclusion of this turn?
I mean, I think that's my turn essentially.
Yeah.
And so
okay.
I just like drop my axe back, ready to take on what I assume is going to be his attack.
Yep. So he is going to as he like steps back from you a little bit, he's then going to try to lash out and use his entangle attack on you.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to require me, believe it or not, there it is. I tried to clean up my desk before this, and in doing so, put all my dice away.
That's okay. My place is a mess too.
Here we go. He goes to lash out at you with this chain attack, and already I'm going to say you were sort of like, as you were charging towards him, you were watching the timing of these chains and already starting to figure out this guy's rhythm, and that's how you were able to dodge the first one. As the second chain goes to attack you, I'm going to let you decide how this failure manifests. As he got a 5, as one of his chains was coming straight towards you.
Luckily, I have an ability called counterattack. When an enemy within reach rolls a tough choice, which we don't need, if they roll a failure or worse, you may immediately attack back.
Okay, so you just tell me, what does that look like as he basically whips out, and you see this is no regular chain. It's like a bladed, spiked, wicked chain, and it's coming right for you.
Sure. I want to bee twist over it, very Spider-Man style, and just kind of roll as it passes under me, and using the momentum as I land, reverse the action and slice toward his leg.
Awesome. So that is going to be, does the counterattack, is it an automatic success, or do you have to roll?
I roll, but it doesn't count as my turn. It's just like, I get
Right,
to
right,
attack him
but
back
you,
real quick.
you still get to attack. So this can still be anywhere from a triumph to a catastrophe for you, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and see that roll then, as you
All right.
swipe at his leg.
Well, that is a 5.
Okay. So in a interesting chain of events.
Hey.
I'm going to say, so he kind of flung this at you sort of scorpion style. And that's why you were able to just kind of like leap over it, go down. And as you went to like swipe at him, he, seeing what you were doing, whipped his hand around behind him, and his his chain wrapped around your arm and held it tight. And so the two of you were in this like, he's still trying to pull his other chain back, and he's got you locked down there with your axe locked up next to him.
Cool.
As that was just your counterattack. So
Sure.
that would be your turn, except you suddenly hear behind you this like little hideous laughter as one of the or both of the imps that were hidden emerge from their invisibility, and you feel this. We'll see if you feel this sting. Not doing too great here. Man, I didn't roll above a 10 for either. A 4 and a 9.
Okay.
So for these attacks, these guys were invisible, and they overestimated themselves and got a little overconfident. The one with a 9, he's able to stab you. His tough choice is going to be he can attack you, but he's going to lose his dagger in doing so, because your like reaction, you twist and turn and basically like pull the dagger from his hands.
Sure.
So he's going to accept that tough choice, and so you're going to take 1 point of damage from his little silvered dagger. As it stabs into you. The other one just got a complete failure. And so as he goes to attack, you like block him. You've got your shield arm is wrapped up. Does Dorian have armor?
Well, currently I have my armor. So that he hits my shield, and there's like a big blue like ripple across my body.
And I'll say the other one goes to like stab you, and you actually like grab his little wrist and yank it. And so the dagger like falls from his hand and sinks into the lava.
Nice.
So that's actually the imp's turn. They did not do too hot, and they cannot return to their invisibility until their next turn. So you are there with the chain devil's chain wrapped around your axe, and these two imps behind you, one of which is now unarmed.
Yes.
Oh, actually, sorry. Wait, real quick. I need you to roll a d8 for me.
Oh, okay. This is the most dice you'll ever use in this game, I swear.
I know. I'm sorry, folks. So this show is called Random Tables, so I thought I'd add a little bit of random tables.
I love it
tonight.
That is going to be a 4.
Okay. Interesting. You're like in this struggle here, holding onto your axe, trying to get the chain off of it. These two little guys are trying to stab you, and you see off to the side, about maybe 30 feet from you, one of those lava, one of the pieces of land that's not in the lava opens up, and this blue glowing crate comes out and just starts like hovering in the air, floating there. Now it's your turn.
Okay. He said one of the things is like, get there first, get that loot crate first. So I guess the first thing I need to do is to get loose from this chain. So I want to use the chain to Actually, no, I'm not going to go for the loot crate right now. I do want it, but I'm not going to go for it just now. What I'm going to do instead is grab the chain that's wrapped around me. I want to run. How big is this thing?
He's about like 7 feet tall.
Okay, so not somebody I could necessarily like run through his legs. So instead, what I'll do is I want to kind of run by his
Yep.
side and use the chain to kind of pull him down to one knee.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, let's get a roll and see how this goes.
Okay. Nat 20. Nat 20. I swear to God.
Yes. Okay. I love it. All right. Not only I'm going to say, are you able to, as you go, you actually have enough time. You actually run around him in a circle as he goes to like swipe at you with one of his claws. You skin past and you slam down to the ground, and you've actually successfully wrapped it around his throat.
Hell yeah.
So when you yank him down, you've also almost made like a sort of chain garrote of his own weapon. And I'm going to say that's going to deal, as a triumph, I'm going to say that's going to deal, what would your weapon normally do? 2?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say this is going to do 4 damage as you see the blades of this like sinking into his throat. He does not look like he is doing too hot.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And he's down on the ground.
Okay. Wow, that did way more than I expected. Okay, well, maybe I don't even need that loot crate. I want to, since I've used it, I want to, I don't know, can I hold an action? I don't know how you feel about that.
Sure.
I know these little bastards are going to try to come once again.
Yep.
So I want to hold my action, and when one of those things appears near me, I want to say return and call my blink blade back to me.
Okay. All right. So seeing their kind of like their guy in danger, you say, the 2 little imps yell are like chittering in some sort of language you don't understand at each other. And they both blink out of existence as they turn invisible. And you readying your action, we'll see how this goes.
Sure.
As they suddenly, I mean, you know they're coming, you just don't know from where. And meanwhile, as this has been happening, every hit, the crowd has been losing it. And when you pulled this thing down and you started screaming, you see like now the little meter there for you is starting to go up and go up as the crowd is starting to sway in your favor and people are cheering. And the announcer is basically WWE style, like calling this whole match as it's happening. And he goes, he's got him down by his own chain. One of the imps is going to get you with a success. And the other one is going to have a tough choice. So I think the way narratively we'll resolve this, you're going to take 1 damage from the one that comes in from the side and actually sinks in. It gets just through. Wait, does your shield allow any damage to come through? Or
so,
is it like, does it
so
mitigate?
I've taken, it basically mitigates 3 damage. So I've taken 1 damage, and with
so
this,
you would take 1 more.
okay.
Yeah, so this 1 dagger gets in. The tough choice is he knows that because he's attacking second now, your like guard is up. So he's going to go and try and make the attack anyway. I'm going to say it's going to be a success, but you tell me what is the setback for him as you get blink back in your hand.
Sure. I'm willingly letting these guys get in close.
Yeah.
So as he comes in, I take the one and I kind of like reach for him and I miss, and I know the other one's coming. So as it strikes me, I want to grab it by the throat and I want to say return. As I'm holding its throat, I want the blade to return to my hand.
Awesome. You do, and it returns to your hand, and as it manifests straight through this thing's chest, and then you hear, and you see, you haven't seen this before, but the blade doesn't just kill him, it suddenly, and you see what looks like this creature's life force itself drawn and sucked into the blade as he like withers into ash.
Oh my god, because I have not killed anybody with this thing yet, so that's
yeah.
Fuck, okay.
And as you look down, it appears that the blade has taken on this sort of like fiery demonic glint, and so you don't know exactly what that means. But he says,
I have been empowered. Use me before it fades.
but before you have a chance to react, it is the Chain Devil's turn.
Big boy. Yeah. Okay.
And he is going to use. Sorry, here as I try
That's
to
okay.
find my monster sheet. As I bask myself in the whiteness of my screen.
That's okay.
All right, here it is. He is actually, so you can tell he has ultimately control over these chains. And so he puts his hand to his throat, and you just watch the chain dissolve into like corroded metal dust around his throat, all the way down like a snake almost to your hands as it dissolves into dust. And he turns around, looks at you, and then he looks to the side, and he throws his one remaining chain out towards the crate.
Oh shit.
And I'm going to roll to see whether or not he's able to get it.
Oh god. Healing potion? No.
Man, these dice are really working out for you tonight, because that is like my third 5 I've rolled.
Wow. Hell yeah,
a
dude.
failure. He throws the chain out, and as it like wraps around the chain, he goes to pull it, and like you are able to, you're in his space, and the two of you are still kind of struggling. And as he goes to yank it, he pulls it to not towards him, but actually like angling it in your direction.
Okay.
As he's basically like he miscalculated.
Sure.
So as he pulls it, it's like flying through the air, still wrapped around his chain, and he thought this thing was going to come right towards him, and it is heading directly towards you.
Okay. I am. Ooh, okay. So, the Blink Blade has told me use me, but I'm not going to use it as intended. Mm-hmm. So, I look at it and I say, "Oh, I will," and I, flourish it a bit. And as he pulls the chain, I want to plow it through the chain, stopping him from like actually continuing the pull.
Yeah.
So that as he has to loose himself, I can get to the box.
Awesome.
That's what I would like to do.
And what you see is as the blade hits the chain, this like reddish glint that was on it, it causes it to like melt right through the chain, basically using up the energy that had been like held up in it. You get the sense that as it absorbed the essence of whatever creature it just killed, it sort of became more powerful, and you were able to then use that to cleanly swipe through these infernal chains that are not like any mundane chains you might find here in the regular world.
Okay. And as the box like is now free,
it like clatters.
Yeah, I'm going to make a mad dash to reach for it.
I'm going to say you easily have enough movement. So you basically cut the chain, and then it comes crashing onto the like lava platform that you're on. That's sort of kind of, floating and moving as the two of you are fighting, but you're able to kind of get it to land in such a way it starts to skid towards you, and you are able to catch up to it.
Cool.
And as you touch it,
mm-hmm.
you think it's like a crate that you're going to have to like open, but as you do, the bluish glow, actually you realize the crate itself is almost like an illusion as it like crumbles away, revealing like an item floating there in the air like this. It is a like metal gauntlet just floating there in the air right in front of you.
Okay. Camera zooms in on the camera, cuts to my eyes, squinting with a little smile, and I uppercut through the gauntlet and clasp it on my hand.
And as you do, you see that like engraved in letters on the bottom of it, just as the name, The Catcher. And the crowd seeing this goes, "Catcher, catcher, catcher, and you see there's also like foam versions of the catcher as like people are like showing, like throwing them up in the air. Like everyone very clearly knows about the magic items that are used here, and like but don't know which ones are going to make the appearance. You don't know what it does just yet, but as you grasp it, it's basically like 3 times the size of like what should be a normal gauntlet, and it's got these like spikes on it. You get the sense that this thing is meant for like protection.
Okay.
Like you can use this thing in a way to defend yourself that a typical weapon might not, or typical gauntlet might not allow you to.
Sure. With it now, is it right-handed or left-handed? This is
What hand
important.
would you like it to be on?
I want you to tell me.
I am going to say that it is, here, we're going to say 10 and below it's left, 11 and up it's right. I got a 2, so it's left-handed.
All right. So as I've uppercutted, and people are yelling "catcher, catcher," I look to the monstrosity before me. I sling my axe cockily on my shoulder, and I say, "Have at thee, villain!" And I'm gonna allow him to make the next move.
Yeah, and you actually see he stands up, and I know we're getting close to a good break time, so we're almost at a spot that I think will work really well. And as he stands up, you see it's crawling out of the skin of his flesh, the flesh of his shoulders itself, like the metal spiked chain, almost like a snake growing out of his body, going down both of his arms. As you just see him, it's almost like it's causing him pain to do this, but these chains form around him once again. And he spins them, and he starts spinning them so they're like hitting each other, making this spark over and over and over. And then he lashes out in your direction with a double attack of the chains. So he's going to basically be doing this as like his version of a wild attack.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Folks at home. That's a 1.
Oh, fucking A, dude.
That is a
Hell
1.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to change out my dice after this. I want you, Michael. You tell me. You see, he got these chains. They were almost like red hot as he flung them towards you, and you see the front of them are not just chains, but they're like spikes at the front.
Sure.
And they are flying straight towards you. And the crowd has gone like completely silent as you like allowed this to happen. It's just, and there's like ashes falling in the air around you, and you just see them coming like slow motion through the air.
Sure. So I as they slow motion are kind of like clanging together towards me, he has some sort of power to somewhat angle them. I hold up the catcher at basically like a full stop sign, boom, and I'm going to, as intended, catch these chains. I don't know what's going to happen if I try to do that. So first I want to...
So this is cool. I'll read it to you. While wearing the gauntlet, this is from the Quest guidebook, you can grab a bladed weapon that is about to strike you. And grabbing the blade prevents an enemy from hitting you, even if the attack was successful. And you may take the weapon from them.
All right. So with that, as it basically... it hits the front of the gauntlet, instead of just like a regular like clang and I grasp, it basically goes into the gauntlet like it's some sort of portal. Right? The chains go in and are almost like ripped out of his shoulders, out of his arms, and with just a single like spin pirouette almost, I'm going to send it flying whoosh, back towards the demon.
So rips out of his back, and you just see this huge ichor, like pouring of blood and ichor coming from these wounds in his back. And he looks up just in time, as through one through his throat, the other one through his chest, where you imagine his heart might be, and then the chains, like superheated from this exchange, bury into him, and he collapses to the ground. And you see the other imp, the one or the two. There were 2 remaining imps. No, you finished the one remaining imp.
One just
sees this
exploded
happen.
with a sword out of its chest.
One exploded. The other one like looks down at the ruined chain devil and at like what's left of its companion, and it turns to like fly away. But suddenly, this black and purple rift opens up in the air. It's like it hurts your brain to look at this thing. It's suddenly a space that wasn't there is suddenly there. Inky blackness and this almost this purplish color that's like glowing on the edges, like a fire that's just cooled down, almost like embers, but it's this black and purple. And this imp is like flying away, looking back at you, and suddenly this huge gauntleted black plate hand reaches out and grabs this thing. The hand is large enough that it basically has the entire imp except for its head in it, and you just see it and open up its hand and drop it. And then as the rift continues to open, stepping forth from it, you see this large black plated figure in this armor that looks like it's been crafted from shadow itself. On the elbows are these like large spikes and these like rigid gauntlets going up. The knees look to be like a screaming visage, matching this like huge screaming face on its chest. A helm with just like a slit of visor with this like red glowing eyes that turn and look in your direction, Michael. Durian, excuse me. And you kind of hear the announcer who's like looking around. What's this? Looks like we've got a new challenger of some sort. Just stay tuned, folks. What's going on? Did you? And this figure is just turning. It's like looking all around it. And then it sets its eyes straight on you. And that rift behind it just closes. And you see now it's pulled out this large. I should have described this guy better. He is almost 12 feet tall.
Sure. And
his sword is probably at least half that length. It's like a giant black flamberge, like that. The large, I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly, but that long, wavy blade that comes to a tip. And he's just pulled it out and has it at his side.
As Durian, momentarily victorious, had turned his back, facing the crowd. They started to cheer, and that cheer fell to silence. And the announcer calling, making these calls like, what the hell's going on? A new challenger. I turn and I look at this giant, and just a little smile.
Yeah.
And we'll go to a blackout.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to pause for the moment. We are going to come back in about 10 or so minutes. So everybody stay ready, because I have no idea what this thing is or what I'm going to do. I got to fix my lights because they dimmed on me. But thank you so much. Please stick around. We're going to come right back in just a minute. Thank you, Nick. This is fucking incredible.
Yes.
Everyone stick around. We'll be right back.
See you soon.
Hello, randos. Hold on, I'm in the dark. Let me fix this before. Hey, how's it going, everybody? What's great about podcasts is I can edit this part out. Oh, God.
Yeah. See, you can edit that part out
I
too.
can edit that part out, too. How's everybody doing? Okay, here we go. There we go. You can see me now. I hit the...
Yes.
I forgot to fix that because I wasn't looking at myself. Let's try this one more time. Hello, randos, and welcome back to the next portion of Nick's section of Durian's Tale. I have entered into the what I thought were just like a boxing mat fighting pit, and it's turned out to be much, much more than that. I was brought down by Lucius Grave, who owns the fighting pits, and he just talked my ear off. He just used car salesman, got me down here, got me fixed up, got me into the pit, and I ended up squaring off with a chain devil, I believe is what you called it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it went fantastically. The crowd roaring for Durian. He felt them. Their energy energized him, and he destroyed that thing no problem. However, just as I was about to taste victory, something happened. A rift opened up into the arena, and I am now facing some sort of giant black knight thing, and I'm not quite sure what to make of it yet. So I'm excited to toss it back over to Nick and see what's gonna happen.
Yes, and I'm not muted this time, I hope.
Hey, you're good to go.
Durian, as you see again, this creature had seemed to cut a rift in the air itself, this black and purple space that it stepped through, beyond which looked to be just an endless void. Again, towering almost 12 feet tall, just every inch of him covered in this black metal plate that again looks as if it was cast from molten shadow. It's like drinking in the light of the magma around it. And he's turned, and his red eyes glowing in his helm center themselves right upon you as you get this little tiny grin on your, just the littlest smirk, as you prepare yourself. And this creature says,
Durian, the battle bard, I presume.
Indeed. And I take a deep royal bow in front of him.
Well, I myself am a bit of a bard. My name is Scald, emissary of the Shadow King. And you have something of his.
My eyes immediately glance down at my hip, at the pommel of the blink blade.
My master doesn't want that trinket. He wants the heart. You are not worthy of its gifts. And so, I am here to take it and return with the heart of a dying bard in another box.
I see. Well, you can tell your king that he possesses something that is dear to me.
Something or someone?
That triggers something in Durian, and you can see he has to like wipe away this anger instead of just like going at the throat. He looks down, takes a deep breath, and looks back, and he says, "If you want the heart, you will bring me Mac."
I find it amusing that you think you are in a place of negotiation.
And as this is happening, there's mayhem up above. People are like running around. Anyone that works there looks to be like trying to figure out what's happening. And you see, you hear the announcer actually kind of trying to figure out what's happening, chiming in from up above, and says,
Folks, don't panic. We have it under control. Security, please escort this interloper from the pit.
and you see literally like dozens of these security guards from all over the arena start to like pull out these like shock batons and start rushing towards the arena as this has been happening. And you see this figure which called himself Scald looks around and sort of just chuckles.
No. This fight is between you and I, Durian.
No, stay back, please. No.
And
He slams his sword down into the stone, and from it shoots this black and purple beam up into the air. And as you scream like, no, don't, it hits the top of, it goes up about like 40 feet and then shoots out like a dome, sinking all around you, completely encompassing the fighting pit. And as you say, no, don't, you see one of the guards like rushes down and he goes to like run through this, and his body disintegrates and nothing but a black skeleton falls through on the other side. And at that, all of the other guards like back up. Whoa.
where were we? Hand over the heart, and I'll allow you to live long enough to see your friend again.
You will have to pry it from my dead, cold fingers. And I ready my gauntlet for another charge. Yes, the catcher. I ready my gauntlet for another charge as I'm preparing myself for another attack from him.
And as you do, you see it and you like go to flex and you just see it starts to like almost like blink out of existence and then is just gone. And you remember when you spoke to Lucian before the fight that he talked about needing to use the items quickly. And I will say, in response to you saying that, he says,
I was hoping you'd say that.
and he doesn't charge wildly. He doesn't scream and shout. He just blinks out of existence. And then suddenly, Durian, you feel that battle instinct of yours, this mass, this presence coming into existence behind you as he teleports. And you turn around just in time to see his massive blade swinging down towards you. Now, I know normally in Quest, the player acts first, but this boss has the ability to use his teleport strike to gain the first attack. So he is going to make not one, but two attacks on you using his extra attack feature.
Oh, God. Oh, God. What am I going to do?
Okay. Okay, interesting. The first attack I am going to say is the one that I rolled twice, and I realized I should have rolled one first, but the first attack was a 19.
Okay.
It caught you completely off guard. You were like, it was that momentary, like you looked, you saw the gauntlet disappear. You heard him say, I was hoping you'd say that. And then suddenly he's behind you, swinging this massive blade down at you.
Sure.
And you are going to take 4 damage.
Okay. So with my shield, it takes its last bit of impact, and it tries momentarily to keep the blade from hitting my body, and then it is just erupts in these blue shards and musical notes and flats and sharps as it just blasts away, and I take it into the shoulder, and it actually ends up dealing 3 damage.
Yeah, so the way it like is a slash across you, and so that all these notes, they scatter, and that like etched leather armor of yours underneath gets cut open, and you feel the blade just sink into your flesh as he swings. However, with his second attack, as he comes back, you're ready for it this time. And I just got I got a tough choice.
Okay.
So, do you decide to use your counterattack first, or do I have to decide what their tough choice is?
If you get a tough choice and I choose to use my counterattack, I think I just get to do it. So,
okay.
Story-wise, I think I'm not going to counterattack this round, only because I feel like this is a massive blow. And I feel like I'm just going to let you do your thing that you want to do, because I feel like it will be more interesting. So I'm not going to use counterattack.
Okay, so he is going to take his 2 setbacks, which is going to be you go to attack, or he goes to attack you with that first swing down. However, as you are able to like regain yourself, you're not able to pull your axe out just in time, that you're able to block the attack, and your axe basically, you like hold it up and slide it up the blade. He's gonna meet you like it was gonna go right through your shoulder. With this setback, though, what I'm going to say is he's going to deal 2 damage to you as this sinks in, but you slide the axe up like right to where, and you're able to like twist it to go around the hilt and sink your axe into his wrist, and he's going to take 2 damage.
Okay.
That's going to be his setback. He's going to take that damage in exchange for dealing that 2 against you.
Cool. We share this damage.
Yeah.
Great.
And he just leans in close.
I will cut your heart out myself, Bard.
In this all happened in an instant.
Oh yeah.
My life was about to be like extinguished, but luckily, out of instinct, I was able to deflect this blow, and I am on the back foot at the moment. Durian is he's not in this position very often. So I first want to look around and see if the arena has returned to its original state, or there's still lava emanating from the ground.
It has not returned to its normal state yet. And it seems like there's chaos in the stadium, but like some people left. They ran away screaming when that skeleton fell through. But the people that are there are committed. They're like, I'm here for this. Mm-hmm. And they're like, now they're like roaring and cheering. And you see like somehow the way the technology works in here, your face up there next to this guy's like helm. And the crowd is like rallying for you. And you see the announcer up ahead as he's like looking down in panic, and you see he's got all these like levers up there in this like glass podium that he's in, and he goes
hang on, Durian, I'll see what we can do to help you out. And
he actually goes to pull a lever, and you inspired me by asking whether or not this place is the same or not. You see like he pulls something, and the lever, like you hear all these gears, and like you see the lava is like draining, and magically, again, this combination of magic and technology, the rocks start to coalesce and reform together, and like sand begins pouring up out of these like grates, returning this place to its sort of standard setting, and you get the sense like he's trying to decide what to do next to best
Sure.
give you an advantage. But right now, he's put it back to like its standard setting.
Okay, so if I can, and you can say no, as things are coalescing back together into its
Yeah.
original state, I would like to see if I can trap his leg in the like closing gaps.
Mhm.
So if I can, I want to drag my axe by his ankle and see if I can drag it to one of the holes just as it starts to close up around it.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Give me a roll in it. Let's see
Okay.
what happens.
11. That's close.
Okay. That is close. So for folks at home, an 11 is a success. No compromises. Here's the question. So you're trying to do more of you're not trying to do as much damage as you are trying to Okay, here's how we'll make this work. You're going to deal half damage.
So I'll deal one.
That's 1 point.
Mhm.
You'll deal 1 damage to him, but you are able to put him in this tight spot. So you swing your axe in. He
Mhm.
wasn't expecting. He's pretty large, but you've got this like low center of gravity.
Mhm.
You swing with all your might, and instead of he was expecting your axe to like come blade against his that shin guard, and you're like looking right at one of those screaming faces on his knee, but instead you like miss on purpose and immediately pull to yank
Mhm.
him, and it only pulls him about a foot, but a foot was all you needed.
Sure.
As his foot falls into the lava and sinks as the stone starts to form around it. So I will say he is considered immobilized for the moment, and he does take, let me make sure I write that down, 1 point of damage.
Perfect. That's what I'm going for, and then I think using some movement, I want to get space since he is now considered immobile. I want to get away from him so I can now regroup and maybe perhaps go back in for another attack later.
So you are able to rush away from him, and considering you are actually at the top of the round because he went first, can you roll me a d8?
Yes, I can, in fact.
And just re-roll if you get a 4.
I'll re-roll because I got a 4.
Yeah.
I'll re-roll because I got a 4 again. Waited. That was 3 4s in a row, dude. Okay.
Holy. Okay.
If
Come
I
on,
get
just
another
give it a
one,
good shake.
Yeah. If I get another one, we're changing dice. Here we go.
Yeah.
7.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. You see, now that he's in control, and this isn't like random, they're trying to do what they can to help you out against this foe.
Of course.
You see the announcer pulls this lever, and coming up out of the ground next to you is one of those floating boxes, just like waiting for you.
All right. I glance at him, and a shock of fear runs up my spine because I'm in a predicament. I don't know what I'm going to do here. I've never faced anything like this before. And this glowing blue box is floating next to me, and I reach my hand into the box.
All right. And so I know you've already used your action for the turn, but I'll reveal what you see inside. The wooden crates fall around, and you see just floating there this dark crystal orb about the size of an orange with what looks like this like little volatile magical charge at its center.
Gotcha. It falls away in my hand, and I'm now seeing this floating item.
All right, so we'll return to Scald.
Scald.
He like looks down at his foot.
Clever. You bards are always been a tricky bunch. Perhaps when the Shadow King is done here, he'll come for your isle next.
And he takes his sword, and he's going to use his whole attack this turn to basically carve his foot out from the stone as he pulls it out. And you just see he shakes the leg forward. And let me go ahead and see. All right, his teleport does not recharge, so he just starts not running, very calmly,
Sure.
walking in your direction, sword out.
All I see is the Tower Knight from Demon Souls. That's all I see. This giant thing just like Okay, so as he begins to walk towards me, he mentioned the Isle of the Bards, and I'm quickly in my mind, I'm thinking, no one knows how to get there other than the Bards. It's impossible. Though I didn't know about the Infinite City. Perhaps the Bards aren't as prepared as they thought. And I reach over and grab the gem.
And as you do, you see like circling around it, like writing on the like inscriptions on the orb. You see it says Wraithfire Bomb. And the crowd starts cheering Wraithfire, Wraithfire, as they are all incredibly excited, because as you go to grab it too, it like a holographic image of it floats from up above and shows everyone what you have. You can see now too, there look to be like magic users on the sides, like using some sort of like welding things, trying to like get through whatever this dome is that's keeping them out.
Fuck, I don't. Okay, it's called a Wraith Firebomb.
Yep.
So my assumption is this is a firebomb. It's a grenade of some sort. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to hurl it at this giant figure walking towards me.
Okay. Make an attack roll. And don't get a 1.
Oh, God. Not 20! Not 20!
Oh, shit.
I swear, I'll take a picture. I swear to God.
Okay.
I never cheat my dice rolls.
Okay. You hear this. You hear him say, maybe we'll come for the Isle of the Bards next. And you get a picture. He actually, like, you feel this telepathic, like, burst in your head, images of the Isle of the Bards falling to shadow and flame. Very much Frodo looking into the mirror of Galadriel, seeing the scouring of the Shire. You see creatures of shadow tearing down everything, and your people in chains. And you look up and you look at this orb that you're holding in your hand, and you lob it like you've never like chucked anything before. And this guy is just like walking towards you, and you throw it. Remember, I described he had this like maw of like a screaming visage on his armor. And as you throw it, it hits, and there's like basically you can see the armor there has like plates that allow him to move.
Sure.
And as he's like rushing towards you, he brings up the huge flamberge in this like big arcing swing, opening up the perfect hole there. And you chuck it in a way that like there's no other angle that you ever could have gotten it up in there. And it tink, and he's like holding it up and
Was that supposed to do something? And
before he can finish it, because you just heard this like ting 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 as the Wraithfire Bomb detonates from inside the armor of Skald, dealing double damage. So instead of dealing 4 damage, this is going to deal 8 damage. Creatures touched by this flame take 4 damage and writhe in agony. And so you just see from like every single, actually those like the mouths on the knee, like little gouts of flame shoot out from every single part of this guy's armor. And you actually see him buckle, not all the way down to his knees, but his like flamberge, he has to dig into the ground as he stumbles.
kill you.
As you can just sense now pain combined with that rage. You, holy shit. That
Dude.
was a lot of damage.
Sick.
I was going to have that deal less damage because of his armor, but with a 20, like, no, that's in there.
Yeah, I want to share this too with people who are watching. So I make dice. I make my own dice, and when I roll a nat 20, I don't know if you can see this, but this is my symbol of who I connect with, which is a battle bard. These are battle bard dice. This is a loot axe, so that's exactly what it is. Every time I roll an at 20, I see this beautiful loot axe looking
Incredible.
upon me. So
I love it. I mine's not quite as symbolic, but this is one of my favorite DM dice to DM with. It's got a little dragon on the I never know how to like make it so you can see. Well, basically, it's got a little dragon's head on it. So, but I didn't get to use a dragon tonight, but that's okay. Bringing us back as this like massive explosion of wraith fire, which is this like think like almost magical napalm. Is just like the flames are just shooting out and gouts from his armor. And are you that was your turn, right?
That was my turn. Yeah, I just fucking threw it. I'm not gonna move. I'm not gonna do anything other than that.
Yeah, he is going to let me pull up his other ability that he has. He is enraged by what you've just done. And so he is going to take the opportunity to summon forth.
You will taste the blade of the Shadow King himself. I invoke his name.
And as he holds it up, he's going to use Blazing Avenger. And now his blade is going to suddenly explode in this purple necrotic, like it's flames, but it looks like nothing you've ever seen before. Actually, reminiscent of the tear that he ripped, that void. And so he's going to swing down now with the attack using his double attack.
Oh God, his double attack.
Okay, so that's going to be a 12 and an 8. I'm going to say his first attack, we're going to do a little reverse of the last one. His first attack, it's like he's still somewhat weakened from the attack, from the Wraith Fire bomb. So he goes to swing. And I will say, when you're parrying this guy's blows, this isn't like, ching, ching. I mean, it is like a desperate, you're putting all your strength just to get it an inch to your side.
Sure.
Because the force behind this blow is like nothing else you've ever faced. But the loot axe in your hands, it's strengthened by your magic, by the that which makes you a bard. You knock it off to the side, and out of like rage, he just pulls it back and then does a thrust. You were expecting like another slash, and this one, you're able to move to the side so it doesn't sink into your gut, but every inch of that blade, of that flaming blade, tears through, almost like in between two of your ribs, just going along the side of you, cauterizing the wound as it goes. And you're going to take 5 damage due to the additional 1 damage from the Fiery Avenger effect.
Okay. So I will let you know that brings me to 0. And because this hasn't happened yet in our game, when you are brought down to 0 in quest, that is basically your blinking heart. This is you can die now, and so I'm not dead, but I am on the verge. And what will happen is when he rolls an attack, I must and deals his damage. I must roll above that in order to continue standing, else lights out.
All right.
So that is where we are at right now.
The crowd roar, they're roaring, and then all of a sudden you just see, you hear as you fall down to the ground as that blade.
Sure.
I'm actually going to say, I didn't realize it brought you down to 0. We're going to say it went right in to your gut, and he pulls it out. The only thing that keeps you from dying instantly is that the blade itself did cauterize the wound on its way out, and you fall to the ground. What is Dorian thinking as you fall to your knees? I'm going to say you're not all the way down on the ground unconscious, but you are delirious on the state of about to go out. You can feel the blackness sinking in. Yeah. What are you thinking in this moment as you see him standing over you looking triumphant?
So I see the lights going. I see like this is it for Dorian. this was his moment to die in battle gloriously, as all battle bards, not just not bards, but battle bards in particular do. And I see a young child, cold on the streets of some town, and then I see a smiling face in robes, with a playing a panpipes as he passes by me, and I see that moment where he reaches out his hand, pulls me in. I see my fellow younglings being taught at the Order of the Bards. I see the ups and downs of my life. Training and seeing my friends who had to be expelled, and I continued forward. And yet I see the face of Mac, his smiling face driving me to the tower that he originally drove to, and me warning him, this is dangerous, this, you shouldn't go, and he determined to go. And now I see his face in terror. I see Rick, just in his rat form, kind of hunched over with his hands wringing, and then flash to his demonic rat form towering above me. All of these things quickly flashing before my eyes, and just before the lights go out, I see Mac. Was the voice saying, "It's the key. It's the key." That whisper was coming from Mac himself. And that tiny mote of light, energy, whatever it was, as the TV was kind of turning off, begins to expand and expand and expand and expand, and brings me back once again. And I take a deep breath, and I am back in the present.
So you sit there on your knee, like basically collapse to your knees, as Scald looks down at you and says,
I'll admit, you put up more than a fight than I expected. But now, about cutting out that heart.
and as he pulls his sword back, looking like he's getting ready to thrust it into your chest, you hear, "Hey, asshole!" And you hear the voice of Lucius Graves. And you see that he looks to have climbed out of like a hatch of some kind where that elevator was.
Okay.
And he's holding something like you've never seen before. It's some sort of like large black cylindrical, almost like what you might see like a cannon on a ship. And he's holding it over his shoulder. And he says, "Nobody breaks the rules in my fighting pit. Go to hell." And you see he presses some button on the back, and a rocket flies out of this thing. Some sort of result of some gnomish goblet gadgetry, you're not sure, like spinning through the air as Scald turns, slams into his chest, spinning him. You just see like a smoking crater where it hit as he collapses to the ground. And at that moment, you see he's like struggling. You turn and you look up with your last, like your vision is fading. You see Lucius throwing something through the air in your direction.
In my
and you've
blurred,
got like one last. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, in my blurred, dizzying vision, I see this explosion, and I look to Lucius, and he's thrown something in my direction, and I, with all of my might, focus to clarify my vision, and I see what it is, and I reach out to catch it.
And as you do, you catch it, and you look in your hand, and it takes you a moment. Your vision fades and comes back. You see a nearly empty syringe with just a little bit of that juice left.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Give him hell, kid," and pops back down into that hatch he was in as you're holding this syringe that you know has something in it that can if full, bring you back to full. But
Sure.
with what little that's left, you think it's enough to give you a little bit of something.
Sure. I look dizzily at this this monstrosity that's blown to his back and kind of gathering his composure. And like an EpiPen, I'm going to thrust this into my leg and squeeze the plunger.
And in doing so, you feel that same sort of rush. But this time, it's not a full hit. It's going to bring you up to 4 hit points.
Okay.
It doesn't restore any of your adventures. It's just enough to bring you back. It doesn't heal you in a way. You look down, you just see like it's given you a shot of adrenaline, basically, to keep you going. This is Crank right now. This is the movie. Like it's you've got adrenaline rushing through your body.
Straight up an EpiPen. It's just bam.
Yeah, basically. And you hear as Scald is like trying to recover from this massive explosion that just hit him, which really just because of the weakening of his armor due to the wraith fire, you see it blew off one of his pauldrons altogether. And you see that the creature beneath is not an actual creature of any form, is just like shadow that is just wisping away from the armor. And he's like catching his breath, and you hear another voice in your head as you hear, "Use me."
I am going to, without hesitation, filled with adrenaline and fury, desperate and angry, draw once again the blink blade, this cursed item I know is destroying me somehow, and I could give a flying fuck. And I draw it from its sheath. I hold it up as though I'm beckoning the crowd once again.
And they start cheering and screaming.
I kneel at this writhing giant in armor, and I place my hand on the side of his helmet, and I say, "You tell the Shadow King I'm coming for him." And I'm going to plunge this deep into his throat as I bend his helmet, like grabbing one of the horns, thorns, whatever it is on his helmet, these growths. And I'm going to bend it back and plunge it deep into his, like down past his collarbone, into his heart, lung, whatever I can reach.
You know not the enemy you make in the Shadow King.
And he just as you pull the blade out, you see this like cracks forming in the armor, and there's this bright purple light, and it explodes, shattering into 1,000 pieces. And actually, you take 2 damage.
Okay.
As these bits of the armor sink into you, like tearing apart your armor. And you hear that horrible agonizing scream. The dome fades and crackles into nothingness, and this shadowy spirit shoots up out of the armor straight through to the top of the fighting pit roof, where you don't even know where it might go, and then seeps into a crack up above. You don't even have a moment to like really revel in the kill before you look down and you see the blink blade is fully blackened, and it has like smoke coming off of it, and you just hear like, "Yes, so much power. We can do anything." And you notice now that blackness has actually spread past the blade, down your hands, and is almost like going down in, it stops just about halfway down your forearm. as your whole hand is blackened. And this arm, there's just tendrils of blackness now going down Dorian's arm. And at that moment of like realization, the crowd just loses their mind and starts cheering. And they're screaming, Dorian, Dorian, Dorian.
And I imagine this adrenaline shot and this blackness that's covering my arm. As I'm holding this blade, with every bit of strength that I have left in me, reach up into the sky, and it falls out of my hand as I pass out in sheer exhaustion.
Yeah. And I think to bring us home, you pass out to the sounds of your name. One of the greatest things that a battle bard can hear, their name being chanted by 1,000 people, reveling in their victory. You wake up and you don't know how long it's been. Your body feels like it went through a meat grinder. You look down, you see bandages completely covering your torso, red with blood. You can feel with every breath you take, you know you have cracked ribs. You are not in great shape. But sitting by your bedside table, or sitting by your bed, is none other than Lucian Graves. Hey, about time you woke up, big guy.
Hello there, friend. How long was I out?
Just a couple of days. Nothing, we've seen worse. That sword of his did a number on your innards, but, we got the best healers in town, so, well, outside of the Shadow Walkers Guild, of course, but, look, we had a deal. You fight, and I get you information, but, problem is, bud, I don't really know too much about this Shadow King, but I think I know somebody who does. And he slides you like a card, a business card. And you just see it has like it just has like a little simple picture on one side of what looks to be a loom. And he says, yeah, you're going to want to talk to the Weaver.
The Weaver, you say?
Yeah. You can tell him I sent you.
Thank you, Lucius. If you would do me one last favor.
Yeah, what's that, bud?
Find me Austin. He is a member of the guild, and he may know what to do.
You got it. Why don't you get some rest? Hey, by the way, you killed it out there, kid. Best night we've had in years. Love to have you back anytime you want.
It might be a while. As his stitches begin to pull a little bit with the laughter.
And I think we leave Dorian in this scene. I think maybe like you were awake, but that drowsiness kind of retakes you as you see Lucian getting up and heading out to go and contact this friend of yours.
And as the lights fade one last time, as I head back into a dreamlike state, again, I hear the voice of Mac saying, "It's the key. It's the key," as he continues and fades into nothingness.
And the last thing you see, I will say,
Oh,
as you
okay.
look down, you see your hand wrapped in gauze, but you see creeping underneath the gauze, the blackness is still there.
Amazing. And with that, we are going to leave our story for the night. Wow, incredible. We threw Nick into just the heat of combat, and he delivered with just the most amazing rounds of combat that I think I've faced in a long time. Nick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Please let everyone know who you are, what you do, and where they can find you.
Yeah, my name is Nick. You can find me on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram at Scry Society. I run monthly TTRPG charity streams using D&D, Kids on Bike, Monster of the Week, and now I've got to do Quest because this was so much fun. I'm also the community manager for Shard Tabletop, virtual tabletop for 5th edition D&D. So you'll see me. I run their social media as well. Yeah, I'm just so grateful to have been a part of this, and I am looking forward now to watching the next one and seeing what the next GM does with this, whoever the hell the Weaver is.
Yeah, I know. I love that we set up just like very I don't know, just very basic things like the idea of the Weaver. What is that? We don't know, and we get to find out in an episode.
And I have to say shout out to my wife. She helped me come up with that very cool name. I was like, what would be the name of a cool, mysterious NPC who has information?
Yeah.
And she came up with Weaver. So thank you.
The Weaver.
Yeah.
I can't wait to meet the Weaver. Tell your wife I said thank you.
Yeah.
With that, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It was a blast, literally. And, and I will see you all on another random table. Thanks so much.
Good night.